Welcome to General Strike News and Commentary. I'm General Strike. Today I would like to compare Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump's policy proposals. I consider this election the evil of two lessers. This is a historic election with the two nominees being number one and two most disliked candidates we've ever had since they began keeping track of that poll. In my opinion, these are the worst choices I've had the pleasure of voting for. I'd like to focus solely on the policy that will affect the working class and the poor in this comparison. Both candidates have major flaws that I will ignore in this. I consider this a choice of Trump the corrupter or Clinton the corrupted. Trump brags about giving money to politicians for favors, and we all know Clinton's entire empire is set up to take money from people like Trump. At the end, I will tell you who I plan on voting for. Let's first start with Clinton. I take all these positions with a grain of salt because we all know politicians offer lip service to issues in order to gain votes. Clinton has stated she is against right to work and supports collective bargaining. I believe we need more people in unions because it's the last line of defense against the race to the bottom on wages and working conditions. She also supports raising the minimum wage. During the primary, she was pushing $12 an hour, but after the primary, it seems like she is open to the fight for $15. As my minimum wage video stated, we need to raise the minimum wage. She has also stated she would fight against privatization of Social Security and would like to expand it. There is a massive push by the capitalists to privatize Social Security so they can make a fortune off of it. As president, she would push for guaranteed paid family leave and medical leave for 12 weeks for any new child or family or illness. Clinton is pushing for universal preschool for all 4-year-olds. This would be great to get our children a head start on development. After being pushed by Sanders, she now expanded her college plan. She's proposing all community colleges will offer free tuition. Additionally, families who make under $125,000 per year will pay no tuition in state colleges and universities. Her plan also allows student loans to be refinanced at current rates. She also calls for reduced rates and debt forgiveness after 20 years. Clinton wants to expand the ACA, the Affordable Care Agreement, which is known as Obamacare, to cover more people. She would also like to bring down the cost of prescription drugs, co-pays, and deductibles. Another issue that gives the working class and the poor a voice in our democracy is our vote. Clinton is for automatic registration once a citizen turns 18 unless they opt out. The reasons we do not have the right now is because the owners do not want us to vote. This would be a great change. She's also for early voting that helps reduce long lines and allows people to vote at convenient times around their schedules. My state does not offer early voting. She would like to restore portions of the Voting Rights Act that was struck down by the Supreme Court. Clinton has promised within her first 100 days to introduce comprehensive immigration reform with a pathway to citizenship. With millions of families living in the dark, we need immigration reform. The businesses who are exploiting these workers for cheap labor need to be held accountable. No matter what side you fall on, these people need to be led out of the dark by a comprehensive immigration bill that will give them legal work status so they cannot be exploited by businesses who use them as cheap labor. Then a pathway to citizenship has to be included. It's just not practical to deport millions of people, some that have been here for decades. Last but not least is her tax proposal. According to estimates, her tax plan would raise federal revenues by $1.46 trillion over the next decade, while providing a small tax cut on average to the bottom 95% of taxpayers. She would add a new Buffett rule that puts a minimum tax of 30% on all AGI exceeding $1 million, adjusted gross income. A top bracket of 43.6% would be created for anyone earning over $5 million. Clinton would like to increase the rate of the estate tax to 45% under 10 million, 50% from 10 to 50 million, 55% from 55 to 500 million, and a 65% tax being at the top rate for anything above 500 million. That's the money you would leave to people in your estate. She would also like to lower the level at which the estate tax becomes payable to 3.5 million from the current 5.45 million. These are a few of Hillary Clinton's policy proposals that will help the working class and poor. Next, I will list Trump's proposals that pertain to the working class and poor. His will be shorter because his proposals mostly focus on other issues. Donald Trump is for right to work. According to Trump, he loves right to work. He's also on the record saying wages are too high, and he does not support raising the minimum wage. With his current legal battles with his hotel workers, I would say Trump is not a fan of collective bargaining. Ironically, Trump seems to differ from the Republican platform on Social Security. Their platform suggests privatizing it, raising the retirement age, and reducing the cost of living adjustments. Trump said he would leave it alone, but refuses to increase the payroll tax on wages, which currently caps at $118,500. Clinton would move the cap to $250,000, which would strengthen and expand Social Security. Trump is promoting the Republican school choice agenda, which calls for vouchers and private schools and cutting public education. He would like to cut or eliminate the Department of Education. He favors charter schools, vouchers, and magnets. Additionally, he wants to tear down the union walls. The teachers' union will be in jeopardy with the Trump presidency. According to the Center for American Progress, which is a liberal think tank for clarity purposes, Trump's education plan would cost nearly 500,000 teachers their jobs. There's not much to find on college besides working to reduce costs with Congress. Trump would like to repeal Obamacare, but offers little in the form of a replacement. He suggests buying across state lines and deducting health care costs for taxes. He has no plans of privatizing Medicare, as the Republican platform states. Trump supports voter ID laws and other restrictive rules. He also thinks there is an epidemic of illegal voting, especially by dead people and undocumented immigrants. Immigration is one of Trump's main policy proposals. He wants to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. He wants to change the 14th Amendment to remove birthright citizenship. He has vowed to deport an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants with a deportation force. He also suggested a Muslim ban on entering the U.S. until we find out what's going on. He softened that position recently. Trump's positions change all the time. He has suggested eliminating the EPA, the Department of Education, and cutting regulations by 80%. His tax proposal has recently been revised. It's now very similar to the tax plan the Republican House proposed. Trump would eliminate the estate tax, giving a massive tax break to the richest among us. Also, he would reduce the corporate tax rate to 15% from 35%. Another massive tax giveaway to the rich. His tax brackets would be reduced, with the top bracket going from the current 39.6% to 33%. His tax plan is estimated to reduce revenue by $4.4 trillion over a decade. The top earner would see the most savings in his plan. Independent reports show his plan could actually raise the tax burden on low to middle income families. Trump's tax plan will deprive our nation of vital revenue, increasing deficits and adding to our debt. It transfers more wealth to the top. He tries to cover for this loss of revenue by slashing discretionary spending, which will eventually cut government services and hurt the working class and poor. The loss in revenue and slashing of government services is another tactic out of the neoliberal playbook to move government services into the private sector so they can make more and more money. Trump has been hammering trade and said he would put a 35% tariff on Mexico and a 45% tariff on China. While this sounds great if you don't like outsourcing, which I can't stand, it will start a trade war. If we put a tariff, as he suggests, on Mexico or China, there's nothing stopping Mexico or China from doing the same to us. It's a terrible idea that sounds great if you don't think it through. Ultimately, Trump rails against trade, yet he takes advantage of low-wage workers by outsourcing his products to Mexico and China. This has been a very effective tactic to gain support that makes no sense and will hurt Americans if enacted. This is the shortest summary I could do for comparison on the issues that affect the working class and poor. I don't like either choice. However, Clinton's proposals are much better for the working class and poor. This is my recommendation. You may disagree, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree without becoming enemies. We're all Americans, and we all have to wake up for work and raise our families every day, no matter who wins. My state is currently about 10 points in favor of Trump. It's a red state, and it never has been on any side of Hillary. So I'm pretty safe that it's a red state. If Hillary pulls closer, I will be voting for her in an attempt to deny Trump a win. That's very unlikely, and I think my state will stay red. If that holds true, I'll be voting for Jill Stein in an attempt to get the Green Party 5% in order for them to get federal funding. The two-party duopoly has to end. We all know trickle-down supply-side economics has not worked. We tried it for 3 decades, and look where we are. Trump's proposals are straight out of the trickle-down supply-side theory. If you think giving more money to the rich and cutting services or privatizing them is your cup of tea, have at it. Vote for Mr. Tic Tac. If you agree with me and think Hillary is better for the working class and poor, vote for Mrs. Wall Street. If you're in a red state or even a blue, consider the Green Party. We have to end these neoliberal policies that are being pushed by both parties. Whoever wins, it's going to be a giant shit show for the next 4 years. So keep your head up and try not to vote against your own self-interest. I hope this little estimate helped. I'm General Strike. Thanks for watching. I'll put a link to a little video comparison I did of Hillary and Trump on these issues I've talked about.